Hello everyone, I'm David Celdran, your quiz master. Welcome to Bilyonaryo Quiz B, College Edition, where the brightest minds from all over the country compete for the life-changing grand prize of 1 million pesos. Now, we have a fresh batch of contenders with us this day, each brimming with intellectual prowess and all eager to earn the coveted weekly winner title. Now, who will make it out on top today? Let's find out. Contestant number 1 is a 23-year-old Filipino-Egyptian, and he brings impressive academic credentials and quiz experience. This nursing student combines his multicultural background with a quirky personality and scholarly achievements. A true quadruple threat indeed. Let's welcome JRU's Ahmed Medhat Ramadan. Hello there. All right, grand entrance indeed. Now let's move on to our next contestant. Originally from Surigao del Norte, this 19-year-old values financial stability to support her family's needs. Contestant number 2 also balances academic pursuits with creative hobbies like crocheting and gaming, bringing determination and curiosity to the competition. It's MCU's Lady May Gutas. Lady May, say hello. Let's move on to our next challenger. This is contestant number 3. This fifth-year architecture student dreams beyond buildings to sustainable farm living. An avid reader with diverse knowledge and previous quiz show experience, contestant number 3 combines practical skills with an insatiable curiosity. Please welcome UP Diliman's Zeus, Immanual, Cordez. Hello, Zeus. Take your position, take your podium. Indeed, this is a formidable trio. So let's hear it for our 3 contestants. All right, before we dive into the exhilarating Bilyonaryo Quiz B competition, we have to first clarify the rules of the game. Let's listen to this.
Today's elimination episode will have 3 rounds, with the first 2 rounds covering history, science and technology, arts and literature, math and logic, geography and nature, and general information. After round 2, the contestant with the highest score will advance to the final bonus round, where the 2 with the lowest scores will be eliminated. Let's break down the mechanics of round 1. There are 12 questions worth 1,000 pesos each. The first contestant to buzz gets to answer. Correct answers earn points, while incorrect answers give the remaining opponents a chance to steal. So let's see who can outsmart and outbuzz their opponents in round 1 of the Bilyonaryo Quiz B.
All right, that sounds really exciting. Now, before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone here to wait for me to acknowledge you before giving your answers, okay? Now let's get our minds and our brains to work, because we're now ready for round number 1. All right, 12 questions. These are somewhat easy, but that depends, of course, on your skill level. And let's begin with our first question in the history category. Listen in. In the mid-19th century in the Philippines, what did most native Filipinos get from a compilation popularly known as the Claveria Catalog? Zeus.
Surnames?
Surnames, family names, that is correct. Or your last names. And most of us in the country get our names from that catalog. Or once upon a time, it was called the Catalogo Alfabetico de Apellidos, compilation of surnames distributed to Filipinos who were born in the country. Native Filipinos, of course. All right, let's move on to our next round. Second question, that is. Computer systems and programs are subject to the so-called GIGO principle. What does the acronym GIGO stand for? GIGO, G-I-G-O. It's an acronym for what? In computer systems. Time is up. The correct answer is, would you know this? Garbage in, garbage out. That's, if you were to input wrong information, you'll most probably get, as an output, bad information as well. All right, let's move on to our next question. This is in arts and literature, question number 3. In Greek mythology, Prometheus had the bright idea of stealing what from the gods and giving it, I wonder if you know the Zeus?
Fire.
That is correct, because it was Zeus who punished Prometheus by chaining him to the rock, to the mountains, all right, and having an eagle nip away at his liver every day. Next question, math and logic. In trigonometry, which function represents the ratio of the adjacent side of an acute angle to the hypotenuse? Zeus?
Cosine.
I thought you'd get this right because you're an architecture student. That is correct. It's cosine. So far, so good for Zeus. 3 straight correct answers. Well, 3 correct answers out of 4 for 3,000. Ahmed, Lady May, still early in the game. Lots of time, lots of chances to catch up. Let's try with this next question, okay? Question number 5 is in geography and nature. Listen in. The playground of the gods, that's how natives call what Luzon landmark, which is also almost 3,000 meters above sea level, the highest peak in Luzon. Lady May.
Mount Apo.
Mount Apo is not in Luzon. That is wrong. Ahmed.
Mount Pinatubo.
Mount Pinatubo. It's a pretty high peak, but not high enough. Zeus, you may want to try.
Mount Arayat.
Mount Arayat is also wrong. The correct answer is Mount Pulag. Clearly, neither of you have been there. The highest peak, one of the highest peaks in Luzon. It's called the playground of the gods, covered by, blanketed by clouds. Beautiful, beautiful. You should try going there one of these days. Let's move on to question number 6. In general information, Filipino fiestas. Colorful rice wafers called kiping decorate homes and streets during what popular fiesta in the Philippines? Zeus.
Pahiyas Festival.
The Pahiyas Festival, or Pahiyas, is correct. This is held in Lucban, Quezon, every May 15th in honor of San Isidro Labrador. And that is correct, patron saint of farmers. Okay, 4,000 now for Zeus. Lady May, Ahmed, come on. Time is, sooner or later, you're going to have to catch up. Let's try to do it in this next question. Number 7, history. What Japanese military title literally means barbarian subduing commander-in-chief? A Japanese military title. Lady May.
Shogun.
You are correct, Lady May. Shogun for 1,000 points. Very good. Or a warlord, right? We know them as a Japanese warlord. Shogun. Next question. In science and technology. What is a common name for nitrous oxide, often used in dentistry to relieve pain? Nitrous oxide. Zeus.
Laughing gas.
Yes, it is laughing gas. And that gives you another 1,000 points. Clearly in the lead at this point, more than halfway through our first round. Let's go to our next question, arts and literature. Okay. What beloved Pinoy fictional character was inspired by a family matriarch named Gervasia Guzman de Zamora of Quiapo, Manila? This gave birth to an anthology of short stories. Yes, Ahmed?
Juan Tamad?
Juan Tamad? No. Anyone like to steal? Who was this Pinoy fictional character? Time is up. Inspired by a matriarch named Gervasia Guzman de Zamora from Quiapo, Manila, Lola Bashang, right? If you're familiar with the work, the anthology of works by Severino Reyes, that was called Mga Kwento ni Lola Bashang. Maybe no longer in your generation, not the TikTok generation, but in my generation, that was very much alive. Mga Kwento ni Lola Bashang. Question number 10 now. Math and logic. I'll read the question twice. You may want to solve for this. What number is 2/3 of 48? What number is 2/3 of 48? Lady May?
32.
32 is correct. Very good, Lady May. That's another 1,000 points for you. 2/3 times 48 is equal to 96 over 3. In simplest terms, 32. Correct. Let's go now to our second to the last question in our first round. This will be in geography and nature. Spanning a vast area across parts of Southeast Asia and Oceania, it is the most diverse and biologically complex marine ecosystem on the planet. What is the name of this important geometric region? Spanning Southeast Asia and Oceania. Time is up. It's right close to us, the Coral Triangle, okay? And that includes the Philippines in that Coral Triangle. Let's go to our final question in round 1. In general information. Okay, this is fun. In the late 1920s in California, a Pinoy, a Filipino immigrant named Pedro Flores, produced and promoted what tricky toy that became an instant bestseller in the US and eventually around the world. A toy developed, conceptualized, created by a Pinoy immigrant in the 1920s in California. became a best-selling toy? Ahmed.
Yo-yo.
Yes, yo-yo is correct. 1,000 points for you. All right, in the nick of time, Ahmed, you made 1,000 points. That still puts you in the bottom, in last place, but not too far away from Lady May, who has 2,000, and Zeus, who's way on top right now with 5,000 points. All right, this is going to be really, really exciting. So hold on to your hats, because round number 2 is about to blow your minds. We'll be right back with more Bilyonaryo Quiz B right after the break. Welcome back to Bilyonaryo Quiz B, the ultimate challenge where sharp minds and quick answers bring promising college students like what we have here today one step closer to 1 million pesos. In the meantime, they stand to take home extra money, especially in this next round. But before we continue playing, let's get to know our brainy battle contestants just a little bit more. Let's start off with you, Ahmed. I'm glad we could fit your name into our podium because I understand it's a really, really long one.
Yeah.
What is your full name?
Actually, my full name is Ahmed, Medhat, Saad, Oshones, Ramadan, Abdul Maksud, Ali. So it's 8 names.
Are you serious?
Yes.
8 names.
Yeah. So it came...
Just to finish your name, tapos na yung time limit natin.
Actually,
Huh?
I think so. Ayun po.
But seriously, I know you were born in Egypt, right?
No, I was born in Abu Dhabi, UAE.
Oh, that's right. Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
You grew up in the Middle East.
Yes.
You transferred here for high school.
Yes.
What was the transition like? You know, two different cultures.
The reason why why I transferred here in the Philippines because of my mom. She got sick, and of course, she wanted to settle down here. And I think the transition was not that different since UAE is a very diverse country, and their main language technically there is English. So hindi siya ganun kahirap mag-adjust. And buti na lang magaling din ako mag-Tagalog, kaya chumichismis na din with everyone.
All right.
Ayun po.
Well, of course, you're multiculturalism personified.
Thank you so
Amazing,
much.
Ahmed, and good luck. You have 1,000 points. Still a lot of time to catch up with Lady May and Zeus. Speaking of which, Lady May, welcome to BQB. Kumusta na?
Okay lang naman po. I'm a bit nervous pero I'm good.
Well, you're doing very well for someone who says she's very nervous. That also came out in the pre-interviews. You're very shy, very nervous.
po.
And I understand you joined these quizzes to kind of like give you the confidence, right?
Yes.
Pero ibang level to. This is television, national
Kaya nga
television.
po eh. Parang
This is on
biglaan
YouTube.
lang po.
So how does it feel like so far?
So far po parang ang nice lang po kasi sobrang bait po ng mga tao and sobrang talkative po ni Kaya. So parang nagiging comfortable na po ako sa mga tao.
All right, that's good to know. And you'll need a lot of comfort because this is going to be a tough round. You're trying to catch up with Zeus, who's up next with my question. Hello, Zeus.
Hello po.
All right, you're doing well so far. You're in the lead with 5,000 points. I knew you'd do well in the math questions because, of course, you're an architecture student, especially in geometry. But speaking of architecture, I understand your dream is, apart from building buildings as an architect, is to build your own personal farmhouse.
Yes.
Tell us about this farmhouse and why a farmhouse?
Well, first, actually, my dream is to retire.
You haven't even started working yet, retire na. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
After 5 years of architecture school, well, I guess all of us spent an all-nighter, but then after 5 years of just all-nighters where I'd rather just rest. But you know, that's not how it works. So
Of course it's
instead,
not.
my dream is to retire and build a farmhouse of my own where there's gonna be sprawling green fields and courtyards and light wells and just everything is very tropical.
Ah, okay. And please invite us when that house is built, okay? All of us, Ahmed and Lady May as well.
Yes,
We'd love to visit you one of these days. All right, good luck, Zeus. Good luck, Lady May, and good luck, Ahmed. Let's begin now by reminding you about the rules for this next round, round number 2, because it's slightly different from our first round. Let's listen in.
In round 2, the game mechanics remain the same, but the questions are now more difficult and worth 2,000 pesos each, except for the Bilyonaryo Booster question, which is worth an exciting 4,000 pesos. No wagers, no penalties, just a big-time boost to get our contestants nearer the Bilyonaryo Quiz B finish line. At the end of this round, the 2 contestants with the lowest scores will be eliminated, leaving one weekly winner to advance to the bonus round and a slot in the semifinals. If round 2 ends in a tie, The game goes into a sudden death tiebreaker, where the first contestant to answer correctly wins. So get ready, contestants. May the Bilyonaryo Quiz B odds be in your favor.
So let's begin the final round, round number 2. Slightly more difficult questions, but also a lot more money points here. Let's start off with women's rights in history. In 1893, what became the first country in the world to grant women the right to vote in national elections? Ahmed,
The United States of America.
is it the USA? No, it's not America. Lady May,
Switzerland.
was it Switzerland? It is not Switzerland. Zeus, it's all yours.
Canada.
Was it Canada? It was not Canada. The correct answer is, you'd be surprised, it was New Zealand. New Zealand, way down under. New Zealand was first in 1893. Let's go to our next question. This is biotechnology. We had some med tech students here, nursing students. Let's see if our architecture student can catch up with this one. In a breakthrough reminiscent of Jurassic Park and Game of Thrones, or this has a breakthrough with Jurassic Park and Game of Thrones vibes, what extinct animal was resurrected recently by a Texas-based biotech company in the lab, Zeus?
A dire wolf.
A what?
A dire wolf.
That is correct, a dire wolf. Imagine, they created 3 dire wolf pups by using ancient DNA, just like in the fictional movie Jurassic Park. They did that. Gene editing technology, cutting edge. Let's go to our next question. Okay, question number 3, arts and literature. Zeus, you're in luck. This is architecture. If fully completed, as scheduled next year, that's the promised year of completion, what massive undertaking in Europe will become the tallest church building in the world? Zeus,
Basilica of La Sagrada Familia.
by Anthony Gaudí, that is correct. Basilica of the Holy Family, Sagrada Familia, Basilica de la Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. That is correct, Zeus. Wow, 11,000 points. You've jumped. Lady May, Ahmed, don't lose heart. Still a lot of questions. Remember, 2,000 points now for every correct answer. And let's not forget the Bilyonaryo Booster question. Let's go to math lingo. What term describes a mathematical entity that has both magnitude and direction, like force and velocity? Zeus was first.
Vector.
Vector is right. Another 2,000 points for Zeus from UP Diliman. Let's move on to question number 5. You gotta be quick, Lady May. You gotta be quick. I know you know the answer. Geography and nature, and this one, Philippine geography in particular. What body of water washes the eastern coast of Boracay Island? It also separates Luzon from the Visayas. What is this body of water? What is this sea? If I could give you a clue. Lady May,
The Philippine Sea.
it's not the Philippine Sea. Ahmed,
West Philippine Sea.
that's also wrong.
Sulu Sea.
Is it the Sulu Sea? It is the Sibuyan Sea. Sibuyan Sea, that is the sea that washes up on the shores of Boracay. All right, let's go to our next question. Still halfway through, mathematically possible for Lady May and Ahmed to catch up. Advertising. It's More Fun in the Philippines advertising campaign of the Department of Tourism, which sizzled in the 2010s. What is pictured above the caption, hot chick? What is pictured above the caption, hot chick?
The
Ahmed.
Ibong Adarna.
Was it the Ibong Adarna? It was not the Ibong Adarna. Zeus,
Sari Manok.
Sani Manok is not correct. Getting there, hot chick. Lady May,
A chicken.
a chicken.
Chicken.
Isang chicken. Hindi. It's the balut, duck embryo, hot chick. You're trying to advertise the Philippines. Remember that people around the world know the Philippines for balut.
Okay,
Some are grossed out by it, some are intrigued by it. It was the way of the DOT to, attract attention. So it was not the chicken, it was the egg of a duck. Balut CCU. Next question, number 7. Historic documents. What historic document contains the line, ipagtanggol mo ang inaapi, kabakahin ang umaapi? Philippine historical document, obviously. What was this historical document with those lines? Oh, time is up. Are you familiar with the Kartilya ng Katipunan? Right? That was a giveaway. Ipagtanggol mo ang inaapi, Kartilya ng Katipunan. Defend the oppressed, Fight the oppressor, translated into English. All right, question number 8. All right, I have to remind Lady May and Ahmed that if you want to catch up with Zeus, who is now comfortably in the lead with 13,000 points, you got to do it now. You've got to do it now. Here is science and technology. We're looking at the cause and effect. Named after a French mathematician, what phenomenon causes storms to swirl clockwise in the southern hemisphere? Counter.
Coriolis effect.
Can you?
Coriolis effect.
That is correct. It is the Coriolis effect. Another 2,000 points for Zeus. Question number 9. In arts and literature, these are dancing fads, okay? So identify this dance, yung sayaw na to. It first made waves as a Euro disco tango fad in the mid-70s and regained popularity 20 years later via an OPM hit song or a Razorhead hit song. Time is up. El Bimbo. Are you familiar with that? Yeah. Did your parents or grandparents ever talk about dancing the El Bimbo? If you never heard of El Bimbo dance, maybe you heard of the hit song from Eraserheads, Ang Huling El Bimbo. That is the correct answer. Okay, it's like a tango kind of like swing kind of dance, popular back in the 70s, revived recently with that song. All right, let's go to question number 10. Math. This is mental math. You may just have to use your mind without having to write anything on your pieces of paper. I'll read the question twice. If 10 machines take 10 minutes to make 10 toys, how long would 25 machines take to make 25 toys? Ahmed?
25.
Again?
25.
25, no. If 10 machines take 10 minutes to make 10 toys, how long would 25 machines take to make 25 toys? Time starts now. Lady May.
10 minutes.
You are correct. 10 minutes for 2,000 points. Are you too far away to catch up with Zeus? Despite the Bilyonaryo Quiz B question, booster question? Let's find out. Let's go on to our next question, second to the last one. This is in food security. What are kept in long-term storage? What are kept in long-term storage in the so-called Doomsday Vault, buried deep, Zeus?
Seeds.
Buried deep in the Arctic archipelago of Svalbard, Norway. Seeds is the correct answer, or plant seeds is the correct answer. That's right, a copy of every seed in the world that has been studied is kept in that vault. It's a doomsday vault in case, we need to recreate the world after a catastrophic event. And the answer is seeds. Okay, unfortunately, we're down to our last question. And despite this being a Bilyonaryo booster question, I'm afraid it's not enough for Lady May or Ahmed to catch up. But Ahmed, Lady May, you might get those money points instead and take home much more cash with you. So why not? Zeus, of course, you can answer this question to take home even more money, despite being assured of moving on to our semifinals. So here's a question. It's on great thinkers, okay? Often called the father of modern philosophy, who uttered the iconic statement, cogito ergo sum, meaning, I think, therefore I am. Lady May?
Socrates.
Was it Socrates, a Greek philosopher? No. Father of modern philosophy. Ahmed?
Aristotle.
Was it Aristotle, another Greek philosopher, classical Greek philosopher? That's wrong. Zeus?
Plato.
You're all talking about Greek philosophers from the ancient times. We're talking about the modern philosopher, father of modern philosophy. Anyone? René Descartes. Okay, René Descartes, French, not Greek, French mathematician, philosopher. That is the correct answer. And we have a winner. And his name is Zeus. Zeus is our god for this particular round. 17,000 pesos for Zeus. Congratulations. But before I get to you, Zeus, Ahmed, it was a lot of fun having you. How do you feel? How do you feel?
I feel like...
Not disappointed, I hope.
No, I think the exposure gives it all.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a nice answer. Very showbiz answer. The exposure gives it all. And how about you, Lady May?
I'm good.
I thought you were shy. Boy, you did pretty well. You asserted yourself, got in those correct answers. You did a fine job. Congratulations. But of course, the largest congratulations will go to Zeus, our god from UP Diliman, School of Architecture, College of Architecture. All right, you stay with me because when we come back, you're gonna have a chance to take home a lot more money in our bonus round. That's right. This is the end of round 2. Our weekly winner has now secured his slot in our upcoming semifinal match. What's much more important, at the moment is today's bonus round. Our weekly winner will have the chance to increase his earnings and take home a lot more money. That's up next on Bilyonaryo Quiz B. Welcome back to Bilyonaryo Quiz B. This is now our Bilyonaryo bonus round, and I'm here with our winner for the week, Zeus Cordez. Zeus, congratulations. You already have 17,000 pesos. You were a Greek god out there a while ago. Well, this is your chance to, well, scale Mount Olympus, so to speak, and take home even more cash prizes with you. All right? So if you're ready, just want to make sure you listen in to these mechanics. Let's listen in.
In the Bilyonaryo bonus round, our weekly winners face off against a 60-second clock to answer 10 questions worth 3,000 pesos each. Once a question is asked, the contestant can either take their time to consider their best answer, or they can say pass and move on to the next one. After that, the question is discarded and will not be asked again, even if there is time left on the clock. To begin the bonus round, our weekly winners must first pick one of 3 mystery categories. Let's hope they choose wisely.
That's right. Zeus, I hope you choose wisely. I'm going to make you take a look at our screen over there. I'm going to give you 3 categories to choose from, okay? This is our Bilyonaryo bonus round. You got to move quickly here. Choose from right on time, board exam, lab at first sight. Now, these are tricky titles, but you'll read carefully and read between the lines, and the clues are there about what we're referring to. So what do you want to choose?
Since I'm going to be taking my licensure exam, let's go with board exam.
I'm afraid that might be the most difficult category.
Oh, man.
Board exam. What do you think we're looking for here?
Honestly, I don't know. I just went off of the...
You just went with your intuition?
Yes.
Board exam. Let's go with board games is what we're looking for.
Oh.
Popular board games. These are popular board games. They could be old-fashioned classic games or some modern ones, okay? But board games that are played on boards. So are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Timer starts after my first question. Let's begin. It's the subject of the TV hit series, The Queen's Gambit,
Chess.
formerly called Lexico and Crisscross Words. Crisscross Words.
Crossword.
Created in 1979, it tests your knowledge of pop culture and other subjects. What board game was that? Is that?
Pass.
Brainchild of Ronnie Pasola of the Philippines. Probably your father or grandfather's game.
Checkers.
Game of resource management and trading where you build settlements.
Catan.
It features 9 rooms, 6 weapons, and half a dozen suspects.
Pass.
The name of its mascot is Rich Uncle Pennybags.
Monopoly.
Simulates the ups and downs of a person's existence from college to retirement.
Game of life.
Billed as a game of quick draw. Draw.
Pass.
Draw. Invented by a film director, a strategy game of diplomacy, conflict, and conquest.
Pass.
Okay, that's 10 questions. No do-overs. When you pass, you don't go back to the questions you failed to answer. But I thought you did pretty well. There are a number of answers you got right. Let's start with this one. Chess, that is correct. Based on the TV hit series, The Queen's Gambit, chess is correct. Formerly called Lexico and Crisscross Words. Crossword, yeah, could have been crossword puzzle, but no, Scrabble. Scrabble is the correct answer. Created in 1979, tests your knowledge of pop culture. Trivial Pursuit, okay. Brainchild of Ronnie Pasola of the Philippines. One of my favorite games when I was a child, the Game of the Generals. Game of the Generals. Parang wala na yata ito ngayon, ano?
Yes.
Salpakan yung name in Tagalog. Game of Resource Management and Trading, correct, Catan. It features 9 rooms, 6 weapons, and half a dozen suspects. Cluedo, or Clue, is the correct answer. The name of its mascot is Rich Uncle Pennybags. You got this right. Monopoly. Simulates the ups and downs of one's personal life. The game of life is correct. Question number 9, billed as a game of quick draw. I was doing this. Well, what is that? Pictionary. Pictionary. And finally, invented by a film director, a strategy game of diplomacy, conflict, and conquest. The correct answer is Risk. And how many did you get? That's an extra 12,000 pesos added on to your 17,000. That's a record so far on BQB, 29,000 pesos. And best of all, Zeus, you get to come back to represent UP Diliman College of Architecture in our semifinal round of Bilyonaryo Quiz B. Thank you so much, Zeus. You did a great job. Thanks as well to our two other contestants, who made this show a fantastic one. Now, if you take away just one thing from today's episode, Zeus, let it be that knowledge will always be your greatest asset. So, see you all next week on Bilyonaryo Quiz B.